Controversy in East Grand Rapids, where a company associated with Verizon is looking to install 5G antennas.
And some residents are certainly against that installation, but city officials say there's only really so much they can do to regulate it. Our Michael Martin joins us live in East Grand Rapids to explain. Michael.
Yeah, guys, good evening. There was actually a law that was passed in 2018, a state of Michigan law that says as long as telecommunications companies meet a list of specific criteria, local municipalities can't do much to stop them from installing 5G technology. But what's happening right now here in the city of East Grand Rapids is a company on behalf of Verizon is requesting antennas in 2 spots that do not meet this list of criteria.
Historically, in 2018, the state of Michigan, the legislature passed a preemption bill which disallowed localities from really regulating a whole bunch of the 5G infrastructure.
A law the city of East Grand Rapids is now trying to work around. As it stands, East Grand Rapids has 1 cell phone tower in city limits, this roughly 120-foot tall tower at the high school. But slowly, telecommunications companies are updating their equipment to be 5G compatible.
In December of 2019, we held a city commission meeting, actually my very first city commission meeting, where we took a look at the 5G infrastructure ordinances. We took a look at what we were allowed to regulate, and we regulated as strictly as we possibly could.
City Commissioner KRIS says at that meeting they passed what regulations they could, requiring telecom companies to meet a list of criteria to be granted a permit to install 5G equipment.
There's an actual application for a permit, and on the second page of that application is all of the things that we can require them to do. For any permit request that comes through that meets all of those, the city has to approve them per statute.
But Pakel says Verizon is now requesting to install antennae in 2 locations that do not meet all of that criteria. But state law says in that case, they have the right to request a waiver.
Unfortunately, because of the statute in 2018, we're not allowed to take public comment or public opinion into account as to whether we approve or disapprove those things.
Which leaves the city and residents like Rebecca MAGUIRE without much of a say in the matter.
I do not feel that I'm alone in this fight. There are plenty of others in this community that feel upset.
The company will now have to make their case for the waivers to the acting city manager, but if they can prove they have a legitimate reason not to meet the city's criteria, then state law says they must approve it.
As city elected officials, we hear the residents. We would like to be able to respond to the residents, and right now our really only power to respond to them is to say, here's our checklist, and you have to take it up with your state or federal elected officials. We have to do it strictly based on what the law says. If the telecom can make a case that is, valid based on the checklist that we have from the state, we have to approve it even if it doesn't meet the ordinances right there.
So what's next in terms of a timeline? Well, the acting city manager will have to have a meeting that should be set soon, no date yet, but that acting city manager will hear from the company representing Verizon as to why they need these 2 antennae in these locations that do not meet the criteria already set by the city. We'll have information as this moves along, but for now in East Grand Rapids, Michael Martin, Fox 17 News.